Valerie and Craig Miller have carved out a unique niche in a booming craft beer market and have quickly become one of the best-kept secrets in the state of Colorado. Just outside of Fort Collins, even a lot of the natives still don't know about this hidden gem. Timnath, Colorado is far from the glamour and glory of the majestic mountains. This once rural grain town has now become the picture of suburbia. And nestled right in the middle of this one-horse town sits one of the best watering holes you'll find, especially if you love good beer. And apparently, people come from all around the country to this state for just that, great beer. Having grown up with me in the South, Val and Craig found a new home in northern Colorado many years ago, but felt it was missing something that they were destined to deliver. So with the help of some great friends, mentors, and the support of their local community, Timnath Beerwerks was born. Housed in what else but the town grain and feed store, Craig and Valerie's dream of a local tap house was quickly adopted by the community and other craft brewers alike. And the result is not just great beer, but a great gathering place. In the heart of downtown, this place oozes history, and the Western artwork and the live music make it a place many locals call home. And with a staff like family, it's easy to see why. So come join me at Northern Colorado's community gathering place, Timnath Beerwerks, with Valerie and Craig Miller. Especially on those beers, man. That's why I got the slushy. All right.
Well, are we like recording right now? So
I start recording early,
okay.
So it's all just Josh.
Okay.
No, I keep all that in. See, I record as soon as I get here, so I compile blackmail material that I can then use at a later date. Because you have agreed to be recorded, so now everything I can use against you in court of law. So it's all good.
We have stuff against you, so we can use that in the court of law.
That's a good point. All right, let's get this thing rolling. All right, here we go. This is the Extraordinary Podcast, and my guests today are Craig and Valerie Miller. How are you?
Good. Welcome to Northern Colorado.
Where are we?
Beervana.
Middle of nowhere.
Yeah, we're off the beaten path a little bit, but we're at Timnath Beerwerks Tap Room
in Timnath, Colorado. Just outside Fort Collins.
That's right. In Northern Colorado, kind of a beer mecca for the Western United States, anyway.
And that's fantastic
because
we are at the best beer place in the area.
Well, there
state.
There are a ton of them. There
Yes.
are a ton of great places. Yeah,
But you guys have hit the ground running, and this place is amazing.
Well, thank you.
I've been really impressed with all the architecture and the stacked wood that we got in the shot. I'm really excited that's going to come out, that we're going to get to show that off.
Yeah, it's a cool building that we found here. We kind of took over this.
You said it was a grain?
It was
a
feed and grain storage building, so built in 1920, and it's got this stacked lumber for walls that we have opened up and made into different rooms and tried to keep the character of the building, but added a lot of modern conveniences and new bathrooms and electrical and that kind of stuff. But
and the artwork. The artwork has been one of the coolest things I've seen that y'all have added.
So we try to feature some art from local artists, keep them here for a few months, and hopefully get them some exposure.
And who are you guys featuring this month? He was just here earlier setting up.
We've got James Menk. He's known as kind of the Buffalo guy. He's got a lot of local pictures. He does a fantastic job. Just a super great guy, too. We're excited to share him with the community. Yeah. And that's really, at the end of the day, that's what we're all about, is community.
And you also have some cool artwork on the walls, too. I was noticing y'all have got some good murals going.
Absolutely. We had Jessica Bean, a friend of ours, did a mural for us as you walk from the lower part of the tap room to the upstairs. And it was really neat. She interviewed us. It kind of takes you from the transformation of Timnath in the old days to having its first brewery in town. So we've been really fortunate to have some people as excited about this project as we are. And we're excited to share their information.
And you guys you guys have hit the ground running. Y'all just opened up what was November of last year, wasn't it?
November 9th. Yeah, the response was amazing.
Yeah, you had a line wrapped around the block.
We had a line out the door for hours, and
as
many people behind the bar as we could fit. And we have a fantastic team, and that made us stronger from the very beginning.
Yeah.
It's been really fun to give this area a place to hang out and get to know each other. Neighbors have met neighbors that live just a few houses down.
Well, yeah, and it's cool because you guys were the first ones to kind of establish a gathering spot in this area, which was clearly needed, and the response has been spot on.
It's been awesome. When we moved from Fort Collins out to Timnath about 4.5 years ago, and that was one of the first things we noticed. Our neighborhood's fantastic, but we all wanted somewhere to go.
So tell me about that process, about how you guys kind of came to the decision to take this leap and how you chose Timnath.
Well, let's back up. We moved to Fort Collins 2001.
Let's back up a step further.
Okay.
Just to be clear, we're all Georgia folks here.
Right.
Born and bred, we got to clear that up. We're all Southerners to begin with. But we just happened to, you guys were fortunate enough to relocate to another great area of the country.
Right. So we moved out here in 2001, actually from outside of Auburn. And we immediately kind of fell in love with the craft beer scene out here. Found ourselves kind of being brewery rats and going to a different tap room every week and checking out as many places as we could. Kind of fell in love with the craft, fell in love with the different recipes and just different styles of beer, anything we could get our hands on.
Well, and it's kind of a whole scene, too. There's culture to that. There's a whole movement kind of behind it a little bit, isn't it?
And it was all kind of new to us at that time. And I got my first homebrew kit that year, too, in 2001. Started brewing beer on my own. And then, just did that for the next several years. Fast forward to about 4 years ago, we moved from Fort Collins to Timnath, which is about 4 miles away or so, not even that. And we realized that, this is an area that really needed something, like Val was saying, as far as some place to gather, to have the opportunity to be the first brewery in any town in northern Colorado is amazing. We knew that this area was growing like crazy, and we were going to miss out if we didn't do it. We were going to be hanging out here, whether it was our place or somebody else that opened it, so we figured we might as well open it up.
Well, and that lets you know you're on the right track, too, when you've got that much of a level of confidence to really know that that's really, if you don't do it, it's that fear of missing out kind of thing. That's a pretty clear indicator that you're on the right track.
So we decided to finally do it, and it took the help of one of our good friends that we've known for a long time, Pete Meyer, who we were sitting down one day, and he said, "This is something you're passionate about. Like, if you want to do it, I'll jump in with you." And so he agreed to do that, and it helps spread the risk out.
Yeah, right. And mitigate that risk a little bit.
Yep. And then throughout the process, we had another partner jump on board as well, Mike Clark, and so the three of us kind of got the ball rolling. And then later on, we offered our head brewer, Cy Bevinger, a stake in the company as well.
That's amazing.
So there are
cool thing to do.
4 owners.
Yeah.
But
and quite frankly, you can't let that guy go because judging on the quality of the product that you guys have, you need to hang on to him with both hands.
Yeah, we had to tie him up.
Dig your claws in somehow.
That's how we did that.
Good call.
We offered him part of a lot of a debt in the company. No, that's kind of the genesis of the whole thing. And this was about almost 4 years in the making, I'd say, before we even opened up, as far as like the process and really getting serious about talking about it and getting the financing together, getting the equipment purchased, finding this place to do it, getting all the parts and pieces and the licensing. That's kind of what brought us to last November, which we opened our doors in November of 2018.
One thing that we thought was really fun when we moved out here, because it's a quickly growing community, all of our neighbors were looking for something. And so when the garage doors went open and Craig was home brewing, people were coming out of the woodwork.
Huh.
And so
let you know you were on track.
Multiple parties, different venues, people would be like, gosh, I wish we just had something in Timnath. And Craig has a history in remodeling.
Right.
So when we walked into this building and saw these stacked wood walls and just the history.
He could kind of see the vision,
he
probably.
Did.
Yeah.
He did. And then from there, just the opportunity to be introduced to Cy and his expertise.
It kind of took you out to that next
Absolutely.
level, raised your game a little bit.
We're super excited, and so the opportunity to provide great beer, but also space to meet people, bring friends, family, dogs.
Well, and it's cool because you guys, I was thinking about this as I was reading up on you guys, because you have an interesting dynamic. You've got the state of Colorado, like Craig was talking about, is this kind of microbrew mecca, if you will. But then you've got Timnath that even people in Fort Collins haven't really heard about. So you've kind of got your little hidden gem amongst the sea of all these other players. And that had to have helped you guys to differentiate yourself in the market, I would think.
I think it's really cool that a lot of people don't even know it. I feel like the lucky people that live in Timnath are drinking the best beer in northern Colorado, and it's a tiny town, and it's just awesome that they are drinking such good beer, and they may not even realize it. Like it is just awesome.
Again, it's that hidden gem kind of thought
so
process.
that part's really kind of cool.
That is very cool.
And we're getting out there. I mean, it's we're getting we're still babies in the industry.
Oh yeah,
for
you're
sure,
infants at this day. I mean, you're like this podcast. I mean, you're just barely even scratched the surface.
Yeah, but it's starting to come together, and people are starting to hear about us a little bit more and that kind of thing. And I just think it's awesome that it's like kind of a little secret,
Yeah.
So that part's really cool.
That is very cool. How are you guys promoting what you're doing?
Well, one of the fun things that we have, especially over the summertime, is local beer festivals. We do a variety of towns, locations, oftentimes nonprofit events, fundraisers. That's something that we're really passionate about. So we do like to help out the community in any way that we can. And so we donate beer, we introduce ourselves. Oftentimes we're asked the significance of Timnath Beerwerks, of the name, and that's where we get to introduce the town. But it just being out in the community and even supporting just local nonprofits, whether it's through a festival or not.
Well, and that's cool that you can use the brewery as a way to give a little credit to the town, because this is such a neat little community.
It really is. It really is. People are excited to be together and to put Timnath on the map, and we are thrilled.
Yeah, and enjoy it now while it's small, because it's not going to stay like this for long,
it will
unfortunately.
Not.
I guess that's a pro and a con at the same time.
Right. We're excited to be a part of it, and we're grateful for the reception that we've had.
So let's go through your lineup. You want to talk a little bit about each one?
I think in general you could say that we focus on American and German styles, and we make really clean beer. So
explain that.
What does that mean? So true to style, I would say. So we don't add a lot of adjuncts to the beer. I mean, we have a couple that we add to, like our coconut cinnamon stout. Is
that's
really
clearly
good.
An add-on.
Really good, yeah. But a lot of our beers are straight up beer styles and
traditional Bavarian type style.
Yep. I think at the very beginning, especially, we wanted to make sure that before you make an adjunct beer, you need to make sure that you can make good
basic stuff.
Yeah,
so get the basics down right first. That's brilliant.
And Cy is doing an amazing job of that and staying true to style. And I think we're doing a great job. We have kind of a shotgun approach to it. We don't focus in on a particular style. Like there are some breweries that are IPA breweries, and that's 90%
right. They kind of get their niche markets,
or saison breweries or sours, whatever. We kind of have a broad stroke with it. A lot of that's based on our market and where we are. We want everybody to walk in the door to be able to find something that they
I was thinking that was probably what gave you guys the confidence, because I was reading about the microbrew scene in this state, and there were 78 microbrews open last year. And of those, only 10 were secondary locations for an existing one. So, I mean,
that
you're
just
coming
opened
into
last year.
Yeah, just in 2018.
Right.
And that doesn't even cover what all has happened in 2019 as well.
Right.
So, as small business owners, how do you deal with that level of competition? How are you differentiating yourself?
It's challenging, for sure. Luckily, this industry, too, is one that is very cooperative with each other.
Supportive, even?
And supportive. One person that I was talking to coined the term co-opetition. So we're all trying to make beer. We're all trying to make money with the beer that we make, but we're also trying to lift each other up and improve the industry as a whole, which has been just amazing. I mean, as we were going through the process of getting open, getting licensing, everything involved in opening up, we had 2 or 3 breweries in Fort Collins in particular that really kind of helped with us and walked with us. And
how cool is that?
Really
As
just shared
opposed to trying to
resources.
run you off.
Exactly.
That's
they were so supportive. They still come in here all the time and drink beer with us. At our bar, we go to their place all the time. So it really is trying to lift the whole industry up and make the best beer that we can for the people, because we know that our customers are going to go to other breweries as well, because that's what we like to do. We like to drink our beer. We like to drink our friends' beer. We go all over the place. So we all try to make the best beer that we can, and the help that we receive, along the way has been.
And that's really kind of a cool vibe about this state and this area in general, is that cooperativeness. I really noticed that with all the guests that I was trying to line up when coming out here. Everybody was just over the top kind and willing to help. You guys were offering me a place to stay, and just all these different people along the way that are just really supportive. It's a really cool vibe to feel.
Yeah, I think, this industry in particular, and maybe even more so just northern Colorado. I can't speak for how it is in Denver proper or other beer areas like Portland or whatever, but northern Colorado seems, we really help each other out. We've done collaborations with everybody in town making one beer, 20 plus breweries.
Oh, cool. A little collaborative effort.
As a fundraiser to make one beer together. That stuff happens all the time. We share ingredients, we share ideas. It's just fantastic. So all that has kind of helped that makes to get started. And as far as differentiating ourselves, we just kind of came into the party, and we're lucky enough that people accepted us in the party and are willing to hang out with us.
That's great.
So
you clearly had some support, and that makes it easier to go down this path.
Yes,
but this is a terrifying path to go down.
It is. What
was the biggest challenge that you had to overcome, or what was the scariest moment for you along this process?
I think, if we're being honest about it, I think it's just, honestly, it's the financial input that that we've had to do.
Yeah. Because, forking out some dough for that
putting everything on the line for this. This is now our retirement account.
Yeah,
we have no other retirement accounts. This is the retirement account within these four walls. So that was the scariest thing. As far as the most nerve-wracking thing, I think it was waiting for licensing to come through and financing to come through, because we did have to finance. It's not all self-supported.
Right. You still got to get some extra cash from time to time.
But
I'm going to speak from the family side. As a mom, trying to balance this with a family, having the kids understand it and find it inspirational is our prayer at the end of the day.
Yeah, because you want them to learn from that experience.
That we go after this, and that we left stable, better paying jobs. But they've been amazing. And again, I keep coming back to community, but they've allowed us to do this.
And what's really cool is the fact that you're setting an example to them to see, to go chase your dreams, to go after what you don't just go make your money.
Yep.
Put your money into what it is you're passionate about and go for it.
Don't let fear stop you.
Yeah.
You're going to be afraid. There's always going to be fear.
Yeah, it's scary. There's no question about it.
There's no question, but
it's also thrilling.
But you figure it out. You do it as a family. You do it as a team, and our team has helped us. Our neighbors have helped. It's everybody. We did not do this alone.
You get to pull in support from other people. Yeah, it's never a solo gig.
Not at
all. And you couldn't do it without the support of a lot of people.
Despite the tougher, challenging times, I would do it all over again.
That lets you know you're on the right track. Mm-hmm. Clearly, That's awesome. So what's been the funnest aspect of this whole journey?
I think the collaboration with the community has really been the most fun and the most rewarding part. Being able to pour myself a beer whenever I want, any time of day is
that's always
nice
a glorious thing to have, Unlimited beer supply.
Yeah,
Can't beat that.
Really the collaboration and the welcome that we've had from the community and seeing customers come in and be happy and just get this amazing feedback from them has been much more than we ever thought it would be. It has been amazing, the feedback that we've gotten.
It's always reassuring to get that, isn't it? Yeah, because there's so many times, man, where it's if I wasn't getting some of that positive reinforcement, I'd be like, what am I doing?
Yeah, it's very rare that we have a conversation with someone that isn't just in love with the beer, doesn't have great things to say about our staff and our space and kind of what we're doing. So I think that part has been the most rewarding part of all.
So you guys have clearly met most of your goals, it appears, from at least what we're looking at. What are some of the long-term plans for this? Where would you like to see this go?
Yeah, we've got a way to go. I mean, we're pretty small right now, to be honest.
And again, you're just so young.
Yeah, the sky's the limit for us, I think. I think 5-10 years down the road, we'll be brewing on a much larger scale, maybe distributing our beer a little bit more. But the challenge is going to be trying to keep the focus that we've got right now, which is our customers that come in the door in our own tap room, and keeping kind of the community feel.
Yeah. And you need to lay that solid foundation and get that like a well-oiled machine before you start jumping into other more technical stuff. And Lord knows I figured that out with doing some of this video stuff. It's like until you got that foundation of the audio stuff down real well, you couldn't jump into that next step. Yeah. So you want to make sure you get that tap room down to a fine science. Yeah. And quite frankly, start making some good money and let's start raking it in a little bit.
And giving back more and making more and giving back more and so
continuing to have that presence in the community.
Yeah, because I think there's only so much we can do in our own tap room. We've got to grow the business, and we're going to have to do that outside the tap room. And in order to do that,
have you considered doing a second tap room at some point? I know it's early in the game, but is a secondary location something that would be a long-term goal? Or
I don't know. I don't think it's on the table right now. I think maybe expanding.
You got your hands full enough.
Expanding our tap room. That's kind of what we're thinking about.
Okay,
but,
cool. Yeah.
As far as
growing what you got, and you've got this ideal location. It would be incredibly difficult to find something even close to.
Right.
What you've got to start
and
with.
We've kind of caught magic with this space too,
Clearly.
and it's such a cool space that I don't think you can't recreate it. I think it would have to, if it were to happen, it would have to happen just sort of organically and
have some kind of opportunity kind of fall.
And that's a euphemism for me not wanting to plan it out. It's got to happen organically, which means I don't have to plan it.
There you go. There you go. That's great. Well, what would be some advice that you have to someone that's looking to start a small business, not necessarily in beer in general, but just like taking that risk, taking that leap?
I think the word leap is where I would go with that. So honestly, where this is going to sound strange, but a big source of inspiration for us to do this was a little video clip that I saw of Steve Harvey after taping of what is the show? The Family Feud.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Steve Harvey,
sure.
after taping the Family Feud, he was giving this motivational speech to the audience.
I think I've seen
that.
And
it was about jumping.
Yeah.
And so that's the advice that I would give is just his whole spiel was everybody's got a gift and you're never going to live your fullest life if you don't use your gift. And you've got to jump, and your gift is kind of like a parachute on your back, and you have to jump off this cliff, and you're probably going to hit the cliff on the way down, but eventually your parachute's going to open, and your gift is you're going to start soaring with your gift. Yeah. And I think that is the advice that I would give somebody is if you think you have a gift, and it doesn't mean that you have to be like an artist or a singer or play guitar or whatever, but whatever your gift is, I think if you're not using it, you're doing yourself a disservice.
You have a duty to share it.
Yeah, and so I think jumping, is the
taking that leap.
Yeah,
that's great.
You said leap, and I think that's what his thing was jumping. So
that's great.
I would also add to that: don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Sure.
If you do have a family or other things that you need to be responsible for or tend to. But also, as Craig discussed with the other breweries, I mean, we asked for help with everything from marketing to we had random emails. Hey, check out this glass washer, or go with these stickers.
And all those little things.
Add up. They decrease your stress, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You want to be your own establishment.
Learn from those who have come before you.
Correct.
And done that.
And everybody around here, at least, is an open book. And so I would say don't be afraid to ask for help because I think they take a lot of pride in in having been through it and sharing that information.
Sure, yeah, and they want to see you succeed as well.
They
and
do.
That certainly helps. Yeah, it was the same thing that I kind of experienced, where it was like, once you kind of have a vision and a goal that you're going for, and that you decide, okay, this is it, and then you start going down that path, you kind of take the blinders off a little bit, and you realize that there are these assets and these people around you that have tools and things that not only are they there to contribute, but they want to contribute. They want to see you
really
succeed.
do.
They want to be able to say that they had their hand in some of your success. So I think that's great. I think that's beautiful.
And save you from some of that.
Yeah,
I think
and
we've
save
all
you from
learned
so
things.
many headaches. I mean, like Jeremy Gilbertson is one who, so many different little things he kind of taught me along the way that kept me out of trouble, kept me from having to spend money that I didn't need to be spending, or doing things I didn't need to be doing, or wasting time on things I didn't be wasting time, and streamlining and focusing me down this path. And it was like a lifesaver. And I'm sure that
And having
brewers like
friends
that,
like
what
that,
you got, same kind
and
of deal.
lifetime friends like we've had.
Yeah,
We've had a high school friend of ours, Sean McHugh, is a good resource for me.
We talked about him with
yes,
Corey in our last
yeah.
episode. We're going to go ahead and give props to Sean McHugh
yeah,
again, because
here you go, Sean. Well, eventually we need to get Sean McHugh on this podcast.
the only reason why he's not on this
There's
show
a
for this
timing
week
issue, yeah.
is because he's not here, because he
Correct.
is in Portugal doing a pilgrimage.
Yes.
A month or two long pilgrimage, taking this
sounds right.
trek. He sent me the information because I was trying to grab him for the podcast, and he sent me this thing he was doing. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
Like,
no,
what
I'll
in the
call him
world?
and I'll be like, hey, I got this going on, or it's a management thing, or whatever it is that I'm working with, and and I love that. You can go outside the industry.
Well, and we're just blessed to have all these crazy, weird friends that have done.
Crazy,
great
friends.
That's the only way I've got this podcast, is because I've got these weird friends doing all these crazy
and
things.
we're family.
Yeah,
we're family.
And to catch up with you guys and all these guys again has been really. I talk about it every episode. It's like, I have to figure out a new intro for the episode, because the intro is like, how long has it been since I've seen you? Oh, 15 years. Oh, yeah.
Well, we just have to work on
Making
decreasing that
old.
time.
Exactly.
It's going to need to be
exactly.
sooner.
And like, why did it take a podcast for me to
right.
get out here to see you
We're
guys?
so
and come out and
grateful
visit,
for it, though.
But
Nate, we are so
it is
grateful.
just the excuse that I've always been looking for to go and do a lot of these things. Like, I mean, because you guys have been on my radar since you opened. I mean, well, quite frankly, really before, because we started seeing some of the social media stuff, and you saw the building and like how it was coming, and I was like, yeah, this is. And I told my buddies that I lived up here about it, and they were really excited too. So
we are privileged to be a part of your new.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's we're all kind of going down some new paths. It's so funny. We kind of hit this kind of time frame in life, and I'm not the only one, and kind of going through these little midlife crisis moments of just trying to figure out a new path. And clearly, you guys
that might be part of our inspiration.
You guys are going through a midlife crisis
Yeah.
as well with this, but
maybe. Yeah.
Doing it this way makes it fun and exciting, and what an adventure, and what a journey, and
I guess.
something you can always tell your kids, and just like how I was talking with Corey, you guys have the opportunity to kind of leave a little bit of a legacy in this town. Have something that's going to be here to stay.
We hope so. We hope so. That would be the ultimate goal, I think.
We were talking about that 10-year goal kind of thing. I think that would probably really be it.
Right. There's a lot of things along the way that could lead to that. We probably want to start a foundation at some point. I mean, there are tons of things. Well, no, I just thought of it just now. So I don't know.
That just came up. I was going to say, do you have a particular cause in mind that you guys
that's part of my
dedicated
organic.
To? Because I mean, that's what I mean. A lot of my episodes are based on people, doing. Corey, who I talked to earlier, is doing the wildlife rescue stuff, and Jason with Hope Through stuff.
I think giving back in general is one of the things that we try to live by. I think, but starting some kind of foundation, I think, just makes it more official and intentional, and maybe you can get some more impact out of it.
Well, and anytime you can add purpose to what you're doing,
right,
it always takes it to that next level. When you're figuring out life, everybody kind of goes to happiness. You're like, okay, well, you want to be happy. And there's certainly a lot to that. But to take it to that next step, I think, is purpose. And having something above and beyond yourself, seeing out above and beyond what it is that you're trying to do with just your little world, seeing outside of that. I think that's where you get to a real state of consciousness.
And I think that's something that you're going to lack that if you work in a building. Yep. And I don't think you can find your ultimate purpose unless you sort of are on your own. You're outside of the constraints of a normal job. I suppose it's possible, but it's it's much more difficult to really go after what you want working within the confines of a typical job, I guess.
Well, it's interesting. I interviewed a musician that said something similar. He said that often ask people what's some of the worst advice you've been given, and one of the things that he said was keep your day job.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, because if you're keeping your day job, you're not fully committing. You're kind of hanging on. You're kind of hanging back.
Right.
But when you quit that day job and you dive in, and you're, and that's it. Then it's like you have no choice. You've got to pull the trigger. You have got to do whatever it takes. And that level of motivation is what gets you to success. When you know that it's like live or die.
I think it removes boundaries too.
That's a great point.
You start to think outside the box a little bit more. You realize that you may be working in the middle of the night, and that's okay.
You're doing whatever
and you
it
get
takes.
excited about it. You don't. Yeah, I guess the best way to explain it is it removes boundaries. Whether it's mental, physical, you do what you have to do, and you have more fun doing it. Even though it can be more painful, it can be more difficult, and it certainly is scarier. You just go after it.
So I'm gonna flip it on you guys a little bit and make it a little tough on you here. You guys have talked about all the support and all the advice that you've gotten along the way, and how it's so great to have this community support you. What's some of just like I asked my other buddy, what's some of the worst advice that you've got through this process and going down this road?
I'd have to agree with your friend and keep your day job. Even close friends or family have said, "Oh, that's a cute idea," but you have well-paying jobs.
Yeah.
You have stability. Why would you do this with young children? Ours are 10 and 13. They've done incredibly well, and again, touching on just trying to be a good example for them. But just to oversimplify it, the worst advice was don't do it.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah. Why would you take that risk?
The list of why not to was longer than why to do it. I mean, there's no doubt. When we said somebody in Timnath is going to do this, why not us? The list was long. Why not us?
Yeah.
But we felt strongly about it, and starting out, we knew we had each other, and we were on the same page.
How important is that?
Right.
I think that's worth even just talking about for a second. If you are not 100% fully committed, the two of you as a family, and quite frankly, even more than just the two of you, as a family, if you have not committed this fully as a family, that can really cause some strains and really cause some problems. So how much of that did you guys talk about before you dove down this hole? Did you guys have some of those kind of discussions? And
we did.
What was that like?
I mean, I feel like I pushed a little bit more because
towards going for it.
I feel like I did because I know
Interesting.
Craig is amazing in terms of his business skills, and I knew even the renovation part and his home brewing knowledge and his...
Well, he's a very capable human being kind of thing, right?
And driven. And I knew for years he'd had a passion for craft beer. But it was so committed to the family and providing for the family. And
yeah, you want to make sure that you can put food on the table.
When we discussed about being on the same page about it, it definitely made it easier to jump. And like we said, with Pete's help,
how much faith you had in going down that path.
And him knowing that I was on board with his skills and going forward, and that we were doing this together as a family.
Cool.
And that we would talk to the girls about it, and
cool.
that we were in as a team.
So huge.
And it's been fantastic. And our relationship, it's tough. I mean,
no question.
Any husband and wife team that work together will tell you it's tough to find that balance. When we have the occasional date night, what do we talk about?
Business.
We talk about business, or we're at another brewery and that leads to business.
Right.
But I wouldn't change any of it.
That's beautiful.
I would not change any of it. So coming back to your question, the worst advice probably was stick with your day job. I wasn't happy with my day job.
And go for it. That's beautiful. People often say, well, like you mentioned earlier, you're taking this risk now with kids, like, why you want to do that now? But to me, I look at it the complete opposite. I think, how beautiful is it to show your kids as an example, go do this. Well, number one, first figure it out. Figure out what it is that you're passionate about, because that's half the battle right there. It's like you got to spend some time doing some things and working hard at some things to figure out what it is even you want to do. And then once you do that, getting fully committed to it and having a plan and a vision and executing on that succinctly and thoughtfully and in a way that sets you up for success.
Yeah, the normal pattern of, go to college, pick a major, get a job in that major, spend life in that job.
Take the next 5 years to pay off that debt,
doesn't
or
really,
10 or 15 years to pay off that debt. And
I don't necessarily agree with that philosophy, I guess.
Even though that is the route that we all took.
Yeah, no, we all did it.
But we realize now that that's probably not the best way, right?
Right. I mean, you can live that way. You can go through life that way, I should say. I don't know if you're living, but you can go through life that way. So yeah, I think that's one thing that I was so happy that we're on the same page, and she wanted to do, and like she said, she needed to push me to do it more than I needed to push her to do it. That's mostly because I just felt like, why would we risk everything for this? Why would we not just keep working and keep, paying our bills and keep moving forward?
And how beautiful is that to have a companion that has that kind of faith and vision?
It's been amazing, and to walk through this journey with Val's been a gift, and definitely could not do it. I wouldn't have done it without her. She
it's not like
she
she's
can do
the one
anything
that
without
pushed
me,
you
but
over the edge.
I wouldn't have ever been able to do it without her pushing. So
that's great.
It's been good.
Okay, we've kind of covered the brew stuff. I'll go through some fun stuff now. What's your favorite item under $100 that you could not live without, or that's your go-to thing?
Like a physical thing? I don't know. I think
preferably, yeah. But it could be anything, whatever.
I mean, for me, I think it'd be like a concert ticket or something. I mean, I can't seem to go too long without going to see a show, but
when you do this, you get away from the physical things. One, because you can't afford them, and two, you don't have time to go shopping. Oh, that's a great question, Nate. But what I love about this is that we're struggling because we don't.
Well, that's great that you don't put a lot of emphasis on material items.
Well,
that's great.
Yeah, I really don't know. We just drink beer. We drink beer. We share beer with friends. A couple great pint glasses, bottle opener. Yeah,
that's awesome. I love it. I love getting to see people's perspective. Yeah. So, how do you get your knowledge and your information? How are you doing any of that kind of stuff, learning type stuff? Anything that you're into right now? I mean, obviously this takes up the majority of your time, but when you're not brewing beer, what are you doing?
Well, ironically, we were just talking about last night a couple of podcasts. I do listen to some beer podcasts. The Perfect Pour.
Any of them you want to plug?
Perfect Pour.
The Perfect Pour.
It's pretty fun, pretty funny. I wouldn't have kids necessarily around for that guy. The Beerist, Beer Business, I think is what it's called, or Brewing Business. That's when I want to get more serious. So
podcasts are definitely
when I'm in the car.
Yeah, they're great for that type of exercising in the car, killing time when you don't have access to audio, or to video, rather.
Yeah. And then Brewers Association. I get a lot from Brewers Association. We're members, and
they have a podcast.
They don't have a podcast. Well,
but
if they do,
put information
I'm
out there.
going to be in trouble. But no, it's reading more of the forums and just different articles and
just staying in the loop with everything.
Yeah, just staying in the loop with that. That's probably, if I have any free time at all, where I am. I'm reading a couple here and there management books. Just to be better for our team. Yeah,
just always looking to improve, and that's always good to have some of those floating around. What's a bucket list item for you guys?
We haven't had the opportunity to travel very much. I think as far as personally, I think we would like to travel at some point in our lives.
Where would you like to go?
We've always said either Spain or Italy.
Doing some European stuff?
Yeah. Neither of us have done any European travel, so I think that would be really fun.
Once you get the home front nailed down here real solid, then you can take off for a little bit.
It'll probably be a little probably be a little while.
Great.
Anywhere we go, though, we always look to see what breweries are around that we can pop in on. So,
cool. And you talked about a little bit about concert tickets. So what are some of the bands that you like to go see? Who are you into? What music are you listening to? Some of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of Americana folks, I guess.
Oh, man, I almost wore my Reverend Horton Heat shirt today.
Yeah.
Because it was black.
Yeah, so we like to. I like to go see any live music in town or whatever. But
are you heading down to like Red Rocks in town in Denver, or is that where most of your shows are?
is good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, anything in that facility.
You could go see anything there. And
What's the last concert you saw?
My last concert was actually with my kids. It was Grace Vanderwall in Fort Collins.
Nice.
She won America's Got Talent. But we try to hit an Avett Brothers show every year
nice.
at Red Rocks. Who do we see with Auburn folk? Jason Isbell. Yeah, Jason Isbell.
Nice.
It's probably our most recent.
You guys have been in Timnath for what, 4 years now?
No, we've been in Timnath for 4 years. The brewery's been open since November.
Right.
And Timnath is growing. Timnath is we don't have restaurants. We have there are trains going by, if you end up hearing that. So we're right on the railroad tracks. A fun fact, this is a fun fact. If you're sitting at the bar when the train goes by, we top off your glass for free.
Awesome.
So that's a fun thing. People get super excited and want to memorize the train schedule.
You hear them down there cheering.
And then Nate, they're cheering downstairs. But we don't have a kitchen, so we do food trucks, which is really fun. And we've met some of our best friends. In fact, one of the most recent live shows I went to was one of the people who runs one of our food trucks.
You want to plug any of those guys?
That would be Marchio's Grill. They're fantastic.
What kind of food are they doing?
We went to Mishawaka. They do Italian.
Oh, nice.
And so Craig's going hunting with the husband. I went to Mishawaka. Saw a show up there, my first show up at the Mish. And, I mean, we've just got a great family. We always have on our website which trucks. We have live music, which I've been anxious to see if they started before we finished up here.
I think I can hear them down there.
On Thursdays and Sundays, we have live
awesome.
music. And, again, local. Supporting local.
Cool.
And sometimes we'll even do some kiddos that are learning to play guitar and sing.
That's great.
And it's a fun
That'd be
dynamic.
in my wheelhouse because I'm learning some of that too.
It's a fun dynamic.
Entry
but
level
we just
stuff.
try to keep things light. Our motto, no pun intended, literally, when we started was fluid. With our staff, we use that a lot. And maybe even talking a little bit about our staff. They're phenomenal. They've become family for a lot of our regulars. And
I was going to say, it was great to meet all of them downstairs.
It's
Super
so
great
fun.
people.
And we love to hang out with each other outside of this place. So anytime
That's
we get that
beautiful.
opportunity.
Well, and again, that lets you know you're on the right track again.
Oh, they're fantastic.
When you have those kind of relationships.
We could not have done this without them. Of course, Cy, we cannot tell you enough and praise him enough in terms of his
skills. Well, that's
skills.
okay, because we're going to be talking to him here in just
a
little bit. So
I know.
Next,
I'm excited for y'all to learn more about Cy.
that one, yeah.
So thank you. Thank you so much.
Tell me about some of the things that you guys, some of the events and things you guys have coming up.
So in addition to our normal live music, which we do on Sundays and Thursdays, we do participate in a lot of beer festivals. So summer and early fall is kind of the festival season.
Yeah, we're swinging right into it, aren't we?
So we've got some fun things coming up in Windsor, in Fort Collins, and then GABF is in Denver in early October.
GABF?
Yeah, so that's the Great American Beer Festival.
And that's for the nation?
The mother of all beer festivals.
And it's in Denver this year.
Yep. So they get thousands of, probably a couple thousand breweries in town.
Wow.
Or maybe not.
And when is the date for that, you said? When is that?
So that's October, the first weekend in October. So we're participating in that this year.
Will they do competition as well and judging?
Yeah,
and
so part of that is a competition side of it, which it's a good way to stand your beer up against other beers in the same category.
Yeah, it's just to kind of get a
whatever
feel
that,
for where you're
whatever
at.
that means. But we're submitting 4 beers to the competition.
No kidding.
So that'll be fun.
Which
and then we're,
ones are you submitting for competition?
So we're doing our Kolsch, our Copper Lager, Double IPA, and then a Pro-Am beer, which is our Barley Wine, which actually we chose the Barley Wine from a homebrew competition. So this beer that we chose is not an easy one. It's like 15.7% alcohol.
So that's really strong
a huge
compared
beer.
to a normal beer.
It's really good, though. It's really fun.
So why do they call it Barley Wine?
It's an English-style beer, almost no hop addition, kind of all barley, all alcohol, like just really
stout,
malt
really
forward,
powerful,
malt
strong.
forward, sweet.
Huh.
So yeah, it's not a wine. It's just that's just
what they call barley wine. That's
kinda
just
what I
like
call
a
it.
name.
But, yeah, so
and they call it that
fun.
because of the lack of hops, primarily.
Yeah,
Is that why?
I think so.
Gotcha.
I think so. Higher alcohol
And
very,
the higher alcohol
very little
content.
hops.
Huh. So you guys have one of those you're going to do for the Pro-Am competition?
Yep. So we've got that, and then 3 of our beers that we're doing for the competition. But the main point is to be able to showcase our beer in Denver. And this is kind of
and quite frankly to the nation. I mean, really get judged nationally.
Yeah.
I mean, from a bigger scale.
Yeah, GABF is a bucket list trip for a lot of beer people, beer geeks. They don't mind being called beer
if you
geeks.
will.
Yeah. So it's a chance to have our beer showcased among everybody in the country to thousands of people over the course of 3 days
that's
in
Denver.
Denver.
That's going to be exciting.
And so that's pretty fun. And we're in the Meet the Brewer section, which means that we'll actually be working our own table and being able to interact with the beer drinkers that come up versus a volunteer situation, which is kind of the regular scenario for the rest of the festival. It's volunteers pour your beer.
So you're not actually getting to see the response.
We're in the Meet the Brewer section, which means we actually man our own table.
And you really want that, too, because you want to see what the reaction is.
Yeah, we want to sell our... Yeah, that's
feedback even.
Yeah,
like,
that's the most amazing part about selling beer in your own tap room or whatever kind of model that we have here is being able to see the feedback on someone's face when they have our beer.
Huge,
we could have started a brewery in a warehouse with no doors and just sold it to bars and packaged it and sold it in liquor stores.
Right.
And you never get to see somebody drinking your beer. So this is
so much more rewarding.
This is so much more rewarding to be able to talk to somebody about the beer, to be able to see their feedback, their face lights up, or if they don't like it. And we talk about that. Why don't you like it? What can we?
What you want to improve?
Like?
The ultimate goal is to get better.
Yeah.
So you get that direct feedback makes it possible. Yeah.
Yep.
It's so funny, like the similarities in two completely different issues. What I'm doing and what you guys are doing. It's like you constantly want that feedback. You constantly it's great to hear people say, "Oh, you're doing a great job. That's awesome," and I love that. But what I really want is, tell me 2 or 3 things that either that you don't like or that you think could be better, could be tweaked a little bit, so that you can see some gains and some improvement.
Yeah.
But it sounds to me like you guys, I mean, your product is pretty well. So you just get to sit back and watch the smile. So that's kind of a rewarding piece all to itself, I guess.
That is fun. I mean, everybody that comes here wants to be here. I mean, you're not coming here unless you want to come here and you're looking for, a good time and good conversation and a good beer. And so
the other thing that I like about it is it kind of brings back that old school bar, like the old Cheers kind of concept, you know, without it being, but in a newer, modern, family-friendly way.
Yeah.
It's a cool place where you can hang out, but what's really cool about, like, with you guys is it's so family-friendly. Like, you can have your kids here hanging out. I mean, we had kids that just walk up here during the course of the interview just hanging out. It's like, it's just a cool vibe. And to be able, like you said, it's that meeting house kind of mentality.
It's a great model for our kind of business. I mean, and it's nothing new. I mean,
quite frankly, it's decades old.
Yeah, you go to Belgium or somewhere, and there could be a little local brewery on the corner that's been there for 300 years, and
it's basically
they just sell their beer out of their place, but generations of families have been coming in there, and
probably some of the best beer you'd ever drink.
And nobody even knows it, and that's kind of what I was touching on earlier. Is like,
I love that, man.
That's kind of where we're at. So that's really the model that we think is lasting. It could last into the future. I mean, you can only sell so much beer. There's only so much shelf space in a liquor store and that kind of thing, especially in the market that we're in. Like, you go into a liquor store in Fort Collins, and there's so much beer, and there's so much good beer. We love the model that we've created.
This is a much different model.
Getting people to come in to our place and
so much cooler.
Share the beer with us.
Absolutely.
And so
I love that, man. I think that's great. 10 years from now, if everything goes according to plan, kids are out of the house, grown and gone, what does an ideal everyday day look like for Valerie and Craig?
10 years, I think we will be doing much of the same things. Besides, we won't have to be driving our kids around in between things. I would still love to see us working here day to day in 10 years and being able to, still making good beer, still connecting with the community, and maybe selling a little beer outside of here. I don't know, maybe at that point we've grown into a brew pub where we have a restaurant too, but that's like not that important to me, I guess. I think as long as we're still
as long as the doors are still open, you're doing what you love,
selling
and you're passionate about,
and being able to give back to the community, I think all that stuff. I think it'd just be more of the same,
more of what you got,
but
now.
Elevated, and we'll be able to throw ourselves even more into it because we don't have to worry about the kids.
And maybe go to Italy.
Yeah, and get that Italy trip. Well, that's going to be before 10 years. I can already tell you that right now.
Maybe so.
That's coming because your success is going to allow that.
Having great staff gives us an opportunity to play.
Yeah, once you know you can count on them to see
get there. Yeah, I would love to be here. I love where I'm at right now. I love that we do have that Cheers atmosphere. I mean, right before we came up for the interview, I'm like, I walk out of the brew house and I'm like, art. Just like the norm.
Just like Norm, yeah.
It really is. It's just, we have our customers that, we love the regularity of some of the customers, but at the same time, when I hear it's someone's first time in, it gets me just as jazzed.
Yeah, because you're somebody else new that's
and I do
exposed.
Believe, I almost love when someone says I'm not a beer drinker. I'm like, sweet.
Because I got something for you.
Well, I do.
Yeah.
And it may take us a time or two to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love introducing
sharing that
people
experience.
and educating people. Beer is not just the keg beer you had in college anymore.
Right.
We can find you that if that's what you
want.
want.
In the tap.
Yeah, that's right. But it has grown tremendously.
It has. The evolution has been something to see.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So.
And you guys have clearly got some things figured out. I'm going to have to come up with a better question for that because all of the people like you guys that I'm interviewing for this, they all have that same answer. It's just more of what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
You've got the path figured out. You know where you want to be. And it's just, how can I get better at that? How can I improve and continue to get down that path? When you say that, that shows, once again, you're on that right track.
We're on the right
you
path.
got the things figured out, and that is exactly why I needed you guys to come on this podcast.
Yeah, I think asking that question, and if it were anything other than what we're doing,
you'd be like, man, 10 years now, I'm going to be starting that brew house, and I'm going to be doing that thing, and but, you would be dreaming about what it is that you're doing today.
That's cool to hear that other people say the same thing, though.
Yeah, it is. It's really neat to see. I learned from every one of these interviews. It's really cool to learn from people like you guys and see like your take on things and your perspective. And what's really cool is to see the commonalities of people that are doing it right and those consistent, repeatable things that you can do. And if you're just paying attention, that make all these things possible. And again, none of us have gotten rich off this yet, but the successes are going to be there because of it's what you love, because you're passionate about it, because you're putting in that hard work, because you're digging in so deep. I mean, it's almost like you can't help but be successful.
Right.
Nobody says it's going to be easy,
and
there'll be a whole lot of hard work along the way. But when you have the passion and the dedication, the hard work isn't so hard. Or at least it certainly makes it worth it.
Well, and I think when you're doing what you're passionate about, your definition of success changes.
Very, very true.
Earlier in my life, success may have been monetary. It may have been, bless my children, may have been making it super easy for them to go to college.
Right.
Things like that. Or having more stuff. But my definition of success is extremely simple now.
Isn't that
beautiful?
It
is having someone sit at the bar when I'm working behind the bar and their face light up because they were not expecting what they just tasted. They were not expecting the space. They were not expecting the warmth coming from the staff regarding their kids or their dog or their circumstances. That, at this point in my life, is success.
That is beautiful. I love that. And quite frankly, what's so great about that is that you hit on is that you said that like it's that over-delivering. It's like giving them a little something extra.
Right.
And any successful business that you see in any industry, what the ones that are really knocking it out of the park, they're always delivering something extra. They're always giving you something more than what you just paid for. Here, they're just buying a beer, but you're giving them an experience. And it's so much more than just that little pint sitting on the counter. So,
right.
Again, that's a clear sign that you're headed down the right direction, and the success will continue to come.
And
so
it's
that's
fun.
Yeah,
it's
and
fun.
The fact that you love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I always want to give my guests an opportunity to plug anything. Obviously, we've plugged the beer about as much as we can possibly do. But is there any shout-outs that you want to give? Instagrams, any Facebooks, anything like that you want to be sure to plug so that people know where to find you?
Well,
anything
sure,
like that?
yeah. Our website is timnathbeerwerks.com with an
E.
Yes, WERKS. And our social media, we're on Instagram and Facebook as well, and we've got
as both Timnath Beerwerks.
Yep, Timnath Beerwerks, and our social media director Nate has done an amazing job with.
He sounds like a cool guy.
He's killing it. Yeah. Not this Nate, different Nate. But yeah, he does an awesome job. Yeah, I would like to shout out our employees.
Please.
They do an awesome job. We've got 5 beer tenders and our head
they
brewer and. Yeah, Nate also doubles as a beer tender. Maggie, Derek, Becky, and Andrew. And then, of course, Cy, our brewer, does an awesome job. Yeah, and I think the town in general and our
customers,
and we just have a great time with everybody.
Your community.
Our community.
They're taking care of you as much as you're taking care of them, right?
Yep. Our other 2
Great.
partners, Mike and Pete, couldn't have done it. Like I said, we couldn't have jumped off without them, and the rest of the craft beer community, I guess, in general in northern Colorado have been so supportive. And it's just fun.
And it's good when you have a nice, strong industry. Because a lot of the people I'm talking to in some of these industries that are not so strong, and it makes it tremendously tougher.
Yeah, Colorado's very friendly as far as from the government standpoint and legislatively and that kind of thing. They're very supportive.
Are you
of
giving
our
a shout out to
industry.
the Colorado state government right now?
I'm giving a shout out to government, if you can believe that.
What is going on?
The Colorado Brewers Guild does a great job for us.
Y'all must have some license renewals coming up that you need.
Right. No, it's a team effort for sure from everything.
All the way
it's
around.
A great situation that we're in. There are areas in the country that it would be much more difficult to do something like what we're doing. So I guess that's
and quite frankly, when the government does make it a little bit easier for you, it's always nice.
It's part of our culture here in Colorado. People come to Colorado for beercations and.
Really? So not just the weed destination thing, it's a beer destination thing too,
huh? It's been a beercation destination.
You can just get torn down in the state of Colorado. Come on, let's go.
Except for you can take beer with you outside the state, like in your suitcase.
Not so much with that other stuff.
So that part's good. But
so come on out to Timnath and get yourself some.
That's right. Northern Colorado's where it's at for craft beer, and if you're in the state, you need to make it up here for sure.
Well worth the trip.
Yeah.
I will definitely say. I brought some friends up here with me, and they are very glad that they came along.
Yeah.
Great, man.
We appreciate you coming out.
Thanks
guys for
both.
giving us this opportunity, and I think it's a cool thing that you're doing, and we're excited to be a part of it. So
thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Hey, I wouldn't be here if I didn't have friends like you guys wanting to come on. So thank you both, and continue success, man. Y'all make it happen. Anything else, Val? You got any last parting words you want to say? You're good?
I'm grateful for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys both, and on to the next round.
Cheers.
And let's make it happen. Yeah, hey, let's do a little clinkety clink clink.
That's right.
Make sure that we got it. All right, you guys take care. Thanks a lot. Hey, y'all. Thanks for listening. So what'd you think? What did I miss? Anything that you wanted to hear that I didn't cover? What do you want to know more about? Who would you like to see on the show? Hit us up on social media and tell me what you think. Check us out on iTunes and please leave a review. We're now on Patreon, and your support there helps let us know we're headed in the right direction. We have a lot of exciting new things coming, fascinating guests, and some of the craziest stories you won't believe. So stay in the loop and check out more great content by subscribing at our website, 8keystogreat.com. Special thanks to my guests and all those of you living an extraordinary life. This is Nate G. We'll see you next week.